Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today I'm going to be previewing the Houston Texans Week 6 matchup against the New England Patriots. So excited for the Texans game today going up against the New England Patriots. I have been watching Texans-Patriots games since I started watching Texans football. I started watching Texans football in 2016, and I'll never forget my first heartbreak as a Texans fan and as a football fan in general was the 2016, I guess you could say 2016-2017 season when the Texans lost to the Patriots in the divisional round against Tom Brady. I think it hurt me so much. I can still remember the final score to this day. It was 34-16. And sometimes when it is playoff time, I will go back and watch the highlights of that game. And that was Brock Osweiler starting. And over the next couple of years, you would see Texans-Patriots matchups when Deshaun Watson would come in to things. I remember great matchup. There were a couple great matchups between Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson. We saw an amazing shootout game in New England. One was Deshaun's rookie year, and then I remember week one the year after, Deshaun coming off his torn ACL. Week one, they played each other in New England, and that was back-to-back years. Deshaun played the Patriots, and they played that year, and the Texans lost by like one score in week one. And that was the year the Texans started off 0-3 and then went on the 9-game winning streak. And then the next season, for the only time I have been watching Texans football, the Texans actually won against the Patriots. It was a Sunday night football game against the Patriots in Brady's last year as a New England Patriot. I've seen some wins against the Patriots in preseason, but I don't count that. So that's the only win I've ever seen the Texans get against the New England Patriots since I've been watching Texans football. And then I think the last matchup, for me at least, I think it kind of makes things interesting into this matchup, because the last time these two teams faced, it was in 2021, and in 2021 these two teams faced each other, and Davis Mills made his first start at NRG for the Texans. It already started, I think, one game before this. But this was one of his first starts with the Texans at home in NRG. I think he had already had a start or two prior to that, but it was his first start at home at NRG as a Houston Texan. And here we are, 3 years later. Patriots and Texans are playing each other after years without playing each other. And the New England Patriots rookie quarterback is making his not only, NFL starting debut, but his Foxborough New England Patriots home debut. So that's kind of interesting. But I think this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a game where the Texans win it kind of easy, to be honest, since it's a rookie quarterback getting his first start. But anybody thinking that the Texans are going to have it easy in this game, I don't think so. I really don't. I think the beauty of sometimes having a rookie quarterback starting unexpectedly sometimes that has some talent is that when you're going up against a defense that's been a little bit shaky so far this year, the Texans have done a lot of great things defensively, but there have been also these times where they've been a little bit shaky and they've given up big play, whether it's big plays. I mean, you can look last week, they gave up some big plays in the second half. Josh Allen threw for a big touchdown pass to Keon Coleman. I mean, if you want to go to the week prior against Jacksonville, there were some big throws that Trevor Lawrence had. There was a big run by Tank Bigsby that honestly saved the Texans the game with a huge tackle by Kalen Bullock. But even though the Texans have got things done in the last couple weeks, things have not been perfect. I'm not complaining because the Texans have got things done, but they have to be better. And I'm not saying if they're not better, they won't win this game, because it's not, they're not playing that type of team. I said that last week with Buffalo. I said The Texans, if they want to beat Buffalo, you have to be better than you were against Jacksonville. They were a little bit better than they were a little bit better against Buffalo than they were against Jacksonville. Not by much though. I don't feel that way with New England. I don't think you could play the way the Texans could play the way that they've been playing these last couple weeks. They'll still get a win, but if they play the way they've been playing the last couple weeks with the Patriots defense that sometimes they've been bad this year, but also we know that this is a Patriots defense that has some spark in them. This could be a close game, especially with CJ Stroud being without Nico Collins now, because I think the interesting thing of it is yes, does Stroud have yes, does Stroud have Stephon Diggs to throw the ball to, but the interesting part is that the Patriots have a pretty terrific young corner in Christian Gonzalez. I hope that Stephon Diggs is able to, get through that matchup, because there have been some wide receivers this year to have some success, but there have also been some wide receivers this year and some wide receivers last year that had a lot of trouble with the youngster Christian Gonzalez. These are also two guys who are familiar with playing against each other. I mean, it was only for 1 year, but keep in mind, Stephon Diggs was in Buffalo last year. That's an AFC East matchup for Diggs, and I don't think Diggs did too good against the Patriots last year, if I remember correctly. So that's what's interesting to me. I think for the Texans in this game, I think the two X factors offensively. I know Joe Mixon's going to be back. I'm not too confident in Joe Mixon in his first game back with the Texans since week 2. Number one, because I think the Patriots are going to be pretty good stopping our run. But I think the two guys that you need to keep your eye on, Stephon Diggs could have a good game, especially, with a shaky Christian Gonzalez. But I think the two guys to expect the most from in this game offensively, number one, Tank Dell. I think this is his time to shine. Last year, we saw a lot from Tank Dell. A lot of good things. We have not seen that so far. Stroud was getting Tank Dell a little bit more involved last week once Nico got hurt. Now that Stroud is playing in his first full game without Nico Collins, not ever, but this season, I think Dell gets more involved, especially with Diggs having to go up against Gonzalez. I think Dell is definitely more involved. But I think another guy that's more involved as well is Dalton Schultz. The Patriots struggle against tight ends. Dalton Schultz was receiving a lot of targets, the most he's received all season last week. So I don't expect that to change going up against a Patriots team that has been killed by tight ends. Tyler Conklin almost went for 100 receiving yards a couple weeks ago against his Patriots defense. George Kittle killed this defense. There have been tight ends that have been killing this Patriots defense this year. So tight ends have been a weakness for this Patriots defense. Tomorrow could be the best game we've seen from Dalton Schultz this season, although I don't think it takes much to beat out what he's done so far this year. He's had some good moments, but a very, 50 receiving yards, he hasn't had something like that this year. So I'm saying, last week was one of his best weeks, and he had 34 receiving yards. But watch out for Dalton Schultz. Watch out for Tank Dell. Joe Mixon could do some nice things potentially, but I just feel like the Patriots will stop the Texans' run game. But I think Dell and Schultz are the main guys that will be. I think those are the two guys that are going to get the most targets. I think Diggs can probably and very well might beat the two of them in yards, but I think Dell and Schultz are probably going to get the most targets. I think another thing with his offense is going to be interesting is Xavier Hutchinson. It's going to be his first game as a wide receiver 3. We'll see how he steps up. He looked good at the end of the game last week against Indianapolis. 2 receptions for 31 receiving yards. So, we know what he did last week, but going into that game, Nico was healthy. Dell was finally back. Diggs was healthy. In the week before against Jacksonville when Tank Dell didn't play, Robert Woods was the wide receiver 3 for the Texans. And now you're going into this game. Woods is out. Obviously, Nico's on IR. This is going to be Hutchinson's first game as the wide receiver 3, or first start as the wide receiver 3. So we'll see how Stroud gets him involved against this Patriots defense and what we can see from him. I mean, knowing he had 2 receptions for 31 receiving yards last week, I think Stroud will be looking for him. All right, I'm going to go over some injuries, though, real quick. Keep everybody updated. Kurt Heinisch is on IR. That's not changed. Kamari Lassiter's out with the shoulder injury. Robert Woods is out with the foot injury. This is tough. Jimmy Ward out with a groin injury. Obviously, we all know about Nico's hamstring problem. British Brooks on IR. So that's tough. He's been really nice. Christian Harris is still on IR. I'd like to know when he's going to come back. Joe Mixon is questionable, but it has been reported by Ian Rappaport that Joe Mixon will be playing or is expected to play. Derek Barnett, defensive end, is questionable. Jerry Hughes, another defensive end, is on IR. Brandon Hill's still on IR. He's not coming back, though. You got your normal guys on IR and not expected back on the season. Case Keenum, Brevin Jordan. Jeff Okuda's still on IR, but I think he could come back this year at some point, potentially. Of course, Dalton Keene still on IR. And that's not going to change because he tore his ACL. All right, that's really it. Prediction time. Like I said, I think if what we've seen from this Texans team continues, this could be a closer game than people think. And that's exactly why, as some Texans fans might be going out there and saying, oh, the Texans are going to win by in the area of 14 to 14 to maybe even as I've seen as much as 20 points. I've seen some Texans fans saying the Texans are going to win this so easy that they're going to win by 20, even more points. I mean, it's possible if we can see what we haven't seen from this offense. I think it's possible. If we can see an offense that goes out there in the first half like they have in these last couple weeks and absolutely look phenomenal, and then actually looks good in the second half and doesn't look complete garbage in the second half, I think it's possible the Texans could win this game by 30 if they played their best football. But I don't know. I don't know if that happens. I think the Texans definitely are going to get things going offensively, even without Nico. I expect them to put some points on the board. I got them scoring 27 points in this game, but I think there will be a couple drives in this game where the defense kind of shuts down. The Patriots have some unexpected plays. Drake may make some plays. There's. It's not just the fact that Drake May is. It's not just the fact that Drake May is coming in and he's the starter. There's not a lot of film to study for him, just because of the fact that he played some dump time against the Jets. We've seen him in preseason, but that's not great film to get. He hasn't started in the NFL, and he has shown some nice arm talent in limited playing time, whether it's preseason or game against the Jets on Thursday Night Football late in the game. And then also you got the fact that, Stevenson is out. I know that might seem like a bad thing for the Patriots because it is with Stevenson being out. Antonio Gibson's a great back as well. Antonio Gibson's having a great season. They still got a great running back in the backfield with Antonio Gibson. So you have no idea. You still have no idea what they're going to do. The Patriots have been a team that have been run heavy throughout the season so far with Stevenson and Gibson. And I kind of feel like this Texans defense is going to, this is the way I'm thinking. I'm thinking potentially this Texans defense is coming into this game thinking that the Patriots are going to be run heavy. That's going to be the game plan, or that's what they think the Patriots' game plan is going to be. But I think with the Patriots, without Stevenson, Drake May starting, Antonio Gibson is your starting running back now, I think the Patriots can potentially pass more than they have in any of their games so far this season. Because also, keep in mind, Antonio Gibson's a very nice receiving back as well. So my final score prediction for this game is the Texans win this game by double digits, but it's not as much as double digits as I've been seeing on social media. I got the Texans winning 27-16. I think this is a close first half. I think the Patriots keep it manageable in the first half, but I think the Texans, for the first time in weeks. I mean, what would it be? It would be. I think 4 weeks. I don't think we haven't seen the Texans have a good second half performance, offensively, since week 1 against the Colts. So this would be the first time since week 1 the Texans could get something going. Not just one drive, because they had a couple. Like they had a couple scoring drive, a couple field goals in the second half against the Bills last week. They had a touchdown drive against the Jags in the second half the week before. They didn't score it, or maybe they scored one touchdown. I'm trying to think about. I can't remember if the Vikings game, if they scored the touchdown in the first or second half. Regardless, they only scored 7 points, so their offense wasn't good in the second half against the Vikings, whether it was 7 or 0 points. And then the Bears, I remember that final score was 19-13. Their offense scored like 10 or 13 points. They only scored like 6 points in the in the second half against the Bears. So the offense has been terrible in the second half. I am predicting that changes right here against the New England Patriots, and the Texans get a dub 27-16. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.